Hi, Sarah Banas here, Learn to Craft. We are going to do something really neat today. We are going to make sublimation pens. These are incredibly easy. You make them in a convection oven. We are going to use a PYD Life oven. I love that brand. They're kind enough to send one to me to show you guys how great that portion of their brand is. I've been using their tumbler presses, their sublimation paper, their sublimation tumblers for some time now. Their tape, and I really like all of it. So let's get to work. These are really, really easy. I'm going to actually show you two different ways. We're going to make them with these, which are shrink wrap, and we're going to make them with tape. So that way, regardless if you have the shrink wrap or not, you can do these. I will link in the video description these pens. I got these on Amazon and they included the shrink wrap. They weren't expensive. They were very inexpensive. So these are definitely a good buy. I'll link that. I'm also going to link in the video description our Facebook group, Sublimation for Beginners. It's about 120,000 members or so at this point. Super friendly, just a great group. We'd love to have you, so come join us there. That'll be in the video description. So let's get to work. One other thing real quick. If this video is of interest to you, like the video. That helps me out a lot. But also subscribe to my channel. There's a lot of videos coming up. When you're subscribed, you'll get notification when the new videos come out. There's a lot of videos coming up that you're not going to want to miss. Everything from, Cricut, silhouette, sublimation, button making, magnet making, all kinds of things. And not just how to make the projects themselves, but how to design for yourself. So definitely subscribe. You don't want to miss the videos that are coming up. So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to measure, okay? So this is incredibly easy. What we need to do to measure, if you have a tape measure that is just like, a fabric one or a like the vinyl one, something like that, the pull-out ones, measure it around it, and that's how you'll get your round measurement. Measure the length, that's how you get your length measurement. If you do not have one, the way you can do it without is to take a piece of string. If you just have like a tape measure or like a regular tape measure or a ruler or whatever, take a piece of string and very carefully, so that you're sure you're getting it exact, run it around and then pinch it off, and then you can measure that to get your dimensions around. So let's go ahead and get to that. Okay, so instead of using a piece of string, we're actually going to use a piece of paper, because I got to thinking, and with string, it could be harder for you unless you're incredibly precise to get it exact. And it's really important that you get your measurements as close as you possibly can with these, so you don't end up with a seam. So I have a ruler and a piece of paper, and then I also have this. So this is what I would normally use, just because it's super easy. You just, go around. But even with this sometimes, so with this, you have that tab there, and that can stop you from getting an accurate reading. So the way I would do this is I would go like this. Take this. Okay, and I'm actually going to take the pen apart at this point. So first thing you'll do is unscrew this part. That'll pop out. Make sure you don't lose that spring. And this part pulls right out. Easy peasy. This is the piece that you're sublimating on. And this is the same material as, like, a tumbler material. The best way to do it is to run it right along this very edge, so you don't end up with it kind of sideways, because that way, you have it right up against that. Right? So let me get this up by the camera so you can see what I'm doing. I'm getting it as close as I possibly can to being perfect there. So you can see I kind of notched my fingernail into it. And then I'm going to cut that, and I'm just going to make sure that that is perfect. So that is darn near perfect. That is just about a perfect wrap. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to measure that. Now when I measure, I do not ever measure using this end piece. I feel like that end piece is always just a little bit off. See how it's just... So I measure from the 1 mark. So from the 1 mark, we have right about 1 1/4. It's just a tad bit over 1 1/4. So when we go to make our design, we are going to actually make our design together today. We're not just going to buy a design. We're going to buy the parts of the design and put it together, but we're not just going to buy a pen design and throw it on there. We're going to make it and we're going to personalize it. So we're going to measure, and that way we have our measurement. So, how handy. I have a pen here to use to write down my dimensions. So 1 1/4. I'm going to put plus, and then I'm going to understand that that's just a tiny little bit. So 1 1/4 plus. Okay. And now, well, I guess I don't really need that for this. For this, you can just measure it. So again, starting at the 1, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and you want to get up just so you know. So this is, see how that's angled like that? It's like angled. I don't know if you can see that. You want to get the top part, the high part. So we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1/8. So just over 4 1/8. So 4 1/8. And then just obviously be careful when you're not starting at that 1 mark. Be careful that you don't just say, that's 5. You got to count. Make sure you have it right. Okay, so let's go ahead and go down to my laptop and we will get our design made. Okay, so I actually made an executive decision, and we are going to skip the design portion of this for a couple of reasons. First off, I don't want this video to be incredibly wordy. I just want you to see the actual pens being made and have, the information that it takes to make the pens. But also because there's more than one design program that you guys work with. So the best thing that I can do to make this easiest is to make this video of us actually making the pens. And then I'm going to make 2 separate videos of making your own designs for the pens. I'll make one for Cricut Design Space, and I'll make one for Silhouette Studio. And then once I get those made, I'll link those in the video description. When you're subscribed to my channel, you'll also get a notification when those videos come out. I'll try to get those done in the next week. So that'll just make it a little bit more streamlined. So let's get to work on actually making the pens. So I've already printed. You can see that I actually had to print twice because the first time I forgot to mirror. So learn from my mistakes and always mirror your designs. I did make both of these designs, so nothing special, just super basic. One says Football Mom number 10, and then one just says my name with some flowers. So let's get started. Let's cut these off of here. So this is the one that is mirrored. You know what, I'm actually going to cut this down first. It'll make it easier to see where that ends at. With the white, I should have given a little bit more of a line of demarcation to make it just a little bit easier to see where that one ends. But that's okay. That's okay. We'll get it done. Okay, so this one ends right about right there. Try to get this on here as straight as I can. It's not going to matter a ton with the white anyways. Okay, that's a good cut on that. Okay, and then let's get this side cut. Another good cut. And then we'll get this side cut. Oops. Another good cut, just a little bit off, but that's why, like I said, you always give yourself that little bit of extra. That way, if it's a little bit off, you're okay. Should have actually given a little bit more space in between these, because what's going to end up happening is that this little, I'm going to have to hand cut that, because if I cut that with a machine, it's too small, and it would get bad. So, don't want to do that. It's like making pasta sauce and you burn your garlic and you keep trying to move forward. You burn that garlic, you better throw it away. Start over. Otherwise, you're going to have some bad sauce. Okay. All right. Another good cut. Okay, so now I'm just going to have to cut this one piece by hand. I hate to do that, but it's going to... Let me put my glasses on. If I try to cut it with the slicer, it's just going to be bad. So this will be better. Not bad for a hand cut. Okay. Good, good. So now let's get to the taping. So the first thing you want to do, you always want to prep. Put some gloves on. So what you're doing is you're getting any oil and lint off of there. You can use alcohol pads or whatever alcohol on anything. I personally just use this. That'll get it off just as well. Yeah, do a good job. You got to make sure that you're, doing it. And the reason you wear the gloves is that otherwise the oil from your fingers is just getting right back on there. So, wipe that down real good. Okay, and then we'll wipe down this one real good. And then just to be sure that you got everything off there, because you don't want any little bits of, the microfiber doesn't really shed, but just to be sure, don't get any bits on there from anything else. Kind of run that on there. An ounce of prevention, Okay, that's good enough anyways. So we'll throw this over to the side. Okay, so now this is what we want to do. Okay, so first thing you want to do is you want to get yourself a couple of little pieces. See, that's what I'm talking about. Just hit a little tiny piece of something on there that actually probably picked it up from my table. So let me put these on here. I should have put them on something instead of on my table anyways. Sorry, I don't want to take any chances. My craft room was an absolute disaster. It still is pretty much a disaster. I had some pretty major home renovations going on, so all of the Amazon packages that came, all of the craft supplies I was ordering during that time frame kind of just ended up at the doorway to the craft room, and they kind of like strewn throughout. So I'm like in the process of trying to get everything back in order. Okay, so let's put this one. Okay, the first thing we're going to want to do actually is we're going to want to take our tape dispenser. If you do not have a tape dispenser, get yourself one. It is an absolute game changer. So take a little piece, and you're actually going to want to cut that piece in half. Now, this is a little bit of a pain with your gloves on, but it's a necessary evil. So you're going to want to make sure that you're aware that that is where your, the little part of the pen that comes down, this little black part that comes down, that's where that's going to be, at least on these ones. So make sure that you are, you know, not putting your name right down or whatever text you have right down there. So this is how I do this. I flip this over and I add a piece of tape. So, oops, this really is a hassle with the gloves. Okay, so you take piece of tape, and I might have to end up mixing the gloves and just hope that my hands are clean enough, because with these little tiny pens it's just too much. Just wipe my hands off on this and make sure that it gets any of the oil off of there, and that should be fine. I'll try to like handle like the edges. So again, making sure that that text isn't right there. And then what you want to do is you want to, so you see the hand cut part that I did right on this, the football edge has just a little bit of white. So that's going to be the side that you're going to want to tuck that side under. And you can see that it's very, very, very tight. So it's not, when I'm pulling this, I am having to pull this super, super, super tight. Otherwise, I'm going to have a seam on there. So I probably could have done it just a little bit bigger. Yeah, so that one's going to have a seam. There's no way around that. It's unfortunate. So that's okay. Mistakes happen. It's not a big deal. So this one, because of the way it is, this one will not have a seam. So this one I measured wrong. So we're going to go ahead with this one. Get that tape super tight on there. Yeah, see, so this one's perfect. This one would have been perfect also, but the problem is because it's got the color on it, and it was probably when I hand cut it all, so I might have lost a little bit. But this one is going to be perfect. So, you know, like I said, when I make mistakes, I want to show you guys that because that saves you guys the same issue. So, like I was telling you in the sizing video, it's always best to size up a little bit rather than sizing down, because you want to, it's better to have too much than not enough. You don't want to have too much extra because you don't want to have a huge overlap where your seam is. But in the same breath, if you don't have enough, you don't have enough. There's nothing you can do to change that. So, but that's okay. This one's going to be super pretty. Okay. All right, so I think that's good. And then, so because we're only doing the one, we won't bother using the tape method. We'll just go ahead and use the shrink wrap. We'll skip over that one. So, this is going to be really, really pretty. So I saw something a while back that someone did where they extended the tape just a little bit out of the edge. And underneath the shrink wrap, so that then when they went to pull the shrink wrap, they had that to pull. They kind of snipped the shrink wrap a little bit, and then they used this to pull. You know, I'm going to try making this a little bit less wide to do that, because I don't know if that width might be a problem. I don't know if that's going to work. I've never done it, so let's see if it does. So we'll take that, and then when you have the shrink wrap on there after you're done, you just kind of pull it off. Who knows if it'll work or not. But we're going to try. So now let's take our shrink wrap. Get that open. Okay. Put that right down in there. And then that's the part that's going to stay off the end there. Okay, now to do the shrink wrap, this is what you do. Get out my trusty Cricut heat mat. These things are absolutely fantastic. These mats, they come in, I use mine all the time. Okay, so if you do not have one of these, so you can use just a regular old heat gun that you get, you know, anywhere. But this one is really nice. I got this on Amazon, super inexpensive, and it's just a great little handy heat gun. Doesn't take up much space. So go ahead and turn that on. Be careful, obviously, not putting your hand in front of it. Quick cut. Okay. Oops, that's the other part. You don't want to do it. Ooh, stunk a little bit. You don't want to do it for too long because you can see that I actually melted through a little bit there, but it's on the edge, so it won't matter. It's actually where that tape is. It's actually probably why it melted through. So let's go ahead and let's go heat press this and see what happens. Okay, so this is the PYD Life oven. This is a really super nice oven. This isn't like an oven that you would just get at, you know, the Walmart or whatever. This is a really nice oven for sublimation. So you can see you can set the upper and lower. To set it, you just turn it. I want it at 383. Top at 383. Okay. Okay. And then I want this set for 5 minutes. So I'm going to set that for 5 minutes. And now it's going to start heating up. Okay. And it's going to let me know when it's at 383. So I'm going to go ahead, when I have it at 383, I'm going to put this in there. And I'm going to bake it for 5 minutes. I'm going to bake it for 2.5 minutes, and then I'm going to turn it, and then I'm going to do it for 2.5 more. So when it's done baking, we'll come back and we'll take a look at it and see what we've got. So I just wanted to show you real quick. What happens is once it gets up to temperature, it stops flashing over there. It stops flashing the, like the, I don't know how to explain it. Like that, you can see like the waves, like you can show that it's heating up. It'll stop flashing that, and then this beeps, and then this starts counting down. So as soon as it gets to temperature, this will start counting down. So once it gets to temperature, put your substrate in there, and then it'll start counting down. This is gonna be pretty. Okay, let's see what we've got here. This is exciting. Okay, so this is nice. This is the first time I've used these. These actually have a perforation on them, these shrink wraps. So that will make it much, much easier. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay. Oh, you know what though? So I actually probably put too much tape on it. It's gonna make it a little bit harder to get off. That's okay. This is gonna be super, super pretty. So I am wondering if it wouldn't actually be a little bit easier using tape instead of the shrink wrap. So basically all people that are using tape are they're just taping the outside like you would with heat tape, of course. No, this is just fine. It's just I just had to get the get on there right. Oh, this is gonna be pretty. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, that's super, super pretty. That's really, really pretty. Let's put the pieces on there and get that all set. I overcooked it just a little bit. My black is a little bit green, so it is a little bit overcooked. So that's okay. That's okay. That was fun. Okay, so put this in first. And then put this in. Yep, and put this in. Oops. don't think I've got that. Oh, that's why I didn't get this down in there. There we go. Now it'll go on correctly. There we go. Oh, that is so neat. I love that. That is super neat. That's it. So make sure that you like the video if this was helpful to you. Subscribe to my channel so you'll get notification of the new videos when they come out. And join us on Facebook. Like I said, Sublimation for Beginners is such a fun group. I'll link it in the video description. You'll love it there. You'll fit right in. Have a good day.